Yesterday, you probably heard that Disney announced they're going to furlough their non-essential, non-union employees effective April 19th. Per the statement, this was due to mandatory decrees from the government that has essentially shut down a number of Disney businesses. And I feel like the decision was further motivated by the sort of growing uncertainty of when we're going to see this end. And we went from 2 weeks to 4 weeks to what is now, indefinitely. They're closed indefinitely. Like a lot of you, my initial reaction to this was sadness for Disney employees. I know there's a lot of people being affected by this all around the world in all kinds of professions, but like you, Disney cast members, Disney employees are a certain segment of the population that I was really rooting for, and that I'm hoping that they're able to get through this with as little upset as possible. Having said that, I think that there are a few things about this announcement that could be clarified to help us better understand what's happening to Disney employees. First off, as mentioned, this is for non-union employees only, this furlough. To you and me, that means non-Disneyland cast members. The cast members that we see on the front lines in the park are union employees. Now, discussions about those union employees are ongoing now, so that's not to say that they're secure or safe from this, that they aren't going to be furloughed. It's just going to be a different kind of arrangement, but I think in the end it'll probably be something similar to this. Secondly, just what is a furlough? This is a question that I asked myself when I heard this announcement yesterday. I've been hearing that term a lot lately, and I haven't really paid any mind to find out what that means, but once Disney made the announcement, I asked the question, what's the difference between being furloughed and simply being laid off or fired? Well, what that means for Disneyland purposes is that cast members who have been furloughed will they keep their status as employees of Disneyland. They're not let go, they're not terminated or anything like that. They are still employed, but they are just not working. Not only are they still employed, but they also maintain their tenure, their health care benefits, all that stuff stays in play. They get to keep all that. In fact, Disney confirmed that in the announcement that Disney employees will maintain their health care benefits and that Disney's actually going to be paying both the employee premiums and the company premiums. Now, here's the important part when it comes to furloughing, or that being identified as furloughed, is that even though they're still considered employees, even though they haven't been laid off or terminated, they are still eligible for unemployment insurance or unemployment benefits, and they are still eligible for the stimulus relief package, the $2 trillion package where everybody's going to be getting checks from the government. They're still eligible for both of those things, even though they are still technically Disney employees. The statement even says that they expect Disney employees to get up to $600 a week, which that sounds high, actually. That's $2,400 a month. I've been hearing the number $1,200, so I'm not sure how accurate that is, but if it is accurate, that's significant. Bottom line is that it's, while not full pay, while they're not getting their full-time hourly pay, this is still pretty good. It's probably the next best thing that could possibly happen to a Disney cast member or a Disney employee. It's certainly a far sight better than them relying only on unemployment insurance, which is significantly less, and plus you don't get any of the healthcare benefits. So I do feel like this is a win. As much as it can be, this is a win for Disney employees. It's the most I think that we could have expected Disney to do, short of maintaining full-time pay. And on that note, I do think that we have to be realistic when it comes to Disney paying their employees. This is just a rough guess, but I would have to say that they've lost probably 70% of their revenue, of their income. 70% of their businesses are shut down. That's just a rough guess in my head. It feels that way to me anyway. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the only thing that's still going are the television, ESPN and ABC, that kind of thing, and Freeform, and those television stations are still going. Rentals, Disney Plus, sales, I guess, of actual digital media, those are the only things that are still generating revenue. Everything else, gone. Now, we don't know what the total cost of this would be when it's all said and done, but I have to think that it's somewhere in the billions. Billions of dollars not earned, plus expenses that they have to keep paying while they're not earning any money. It's a significant amount. So while it's kind of a tough break, a tough deal for Disney cast members, I do feel like Disney had to make this move. They had no choice. Now, those are the main points from the announcement, but let's see, there's a couple things that we can infer from this that I think are worth talking about. A point was brought up in our live stream last night that there's an interesting commonality between the timing of this announcement and the announcement that they were going to suspend or waive automatic payments for annual passes at Disneyland and Disney World. It was argued that Disney was probably using those funds to help pay for cast members. And at first I disagreed with this. I thought that there probably is a sort of tangential relationship between the two, marginally related, but not a one-for-one relationship. But the more I think about this overnight, I do think that there is a definite relationship there. I do think that once Disney decided to stop collecting annual pass payments, they did lose, they had a sort of safety net. That money, that income was a safety net that they could use to offset or pay for some of the other expenses that they might have had. Now again, I don't think it's a one-for-one relationship, but it's definitely a causal one. I think that this thing happening, the annual pass collection thing happening, does directly relate to Disney having to furlough their employees. Secondly, and most notable for me, is that this news tells me that this situation is bad. And it's probably not going to get better anytime soon, at least in terms of our ability to go back to Disneyland. Know this, Disney is for sure a well-connected company. They are in constant communication with government officials, both local and federal. I think it's safe to assume that they know considerably more about what's going on than any of us do. Certainly, they know more about what's going on behind the scenes, the truth of things, if you know what I mean. We hear a lot of news coming out about any number of reports, but that's always painted with a picture of the public in mind. They try to keep things as broad and as vague as possible, I think. But I think that if anybody's going to know the truth of things, it's probably a company like Disney. They've been talking to people in the know, and the news that they're getting cannot possibly be positive for them to make this decision. That's why I mentioned in our live stream yesterday that I don't think it's likely we're going to see Disneyland open anytime soon. Not in June, not in September, probably not this year. Think of it this way. We've heard from the scientific community that we're not likely to see any kind of vaccines for this until early 2021. And I think that's the starting point for any kind of conversation about when Disneyland might reopen. You can't wish it away. You can't hope that things will be okay. They have to know. And the only way to know is with a vaccine. So there you go, Fresh Baked. I know it's not probably the best news you wanted to hear today, but I do feel like, having honest conversations about this, being transparent, being realistic is the best way to cope in times like these. So hopefully that does give you a sense of calm, as opposed to having to constantly worry about being let down or whatever. By the way, if you would like to read the full statement from Disney, I've included that in the description below, so you can read all the details about it there. And otherwise, guys, thanks for watching. And until next time, do be sure to stay safe out there, stay home, stay safe, and Fresh Baked.